Hey guys, it's me, Sam Stein, here with my bud, Tim Miller. We are going to be talking about Elon, but kind of specific. We're going to be talking about DOGE. So basically, for those who are uninitiated, DOGE is this fake government entity that Elon has started up with his buddy Vivek Ramaswamy. Unclear, actually, who else is on it, if they're going to get money, if they're going to be actually part of the government. But long story short,
they're going to get huge scissors. They're going to be able to stand outside of like the Department of Interior and be like, we're going to cut things in here with our huge scissors.
Well, that was the promise, right? Like, so this is what happened. Before the election, on the campaign trail, Elon's going out on the trail with Trump. He's getting these big crowds. I think at Madison Square Garden, Dana White says, DOGE, what are you going to, how much you going to cut? And he says, at least $2 trillion. At least $2 trillion.
Minimum.
Well, I think we can do at least $2 trillion.
Yeah. And then everyone started time was like, that's ridiculous. Like, what are you talking about? You don't have enough domestic discretionary spending to cut that. And so then last night, Elon goes on a podcast hosted by Mark Penn. For those who don't know Mark is a longtime political operative in the DC space. He was a Clinton advisor, ran Hillary Clinton's 2008 campaign, has become, kind of like this Trump curious, now Trump supportive person online. He has a podcast, which apparently everyone has. And
a key kind of like progenitor of birtherism too.
Was he? I don't remember.
Yeah. I mean, not in the way that Trump obviously, Trumpified
I thought Penn was all into the Obama did a lot of coke.
Well, I think we've made clear that the issue related to cocaine use is not something that the campaign was in any way raising.
I think he was into all of it.
Okay.
I think that I just mean that in the Hillary campaign, he was a key player in the
Reverend Wright,
heirs. Yeah. He's
all's fair in campaigns. Anyways, Elon Musk goes on his podcast.
How is Mark Penn's podcast doing, by the way? This is the first I'd heard of it.
I did not know he had a podcast, and the fact that he booked Elon Musk is incredible.
Yeah.
And we can get into that later. Anyways, Penn asks him, now that you've gone to look at the books. Is $2 trillion possible? And Elon says to him, I think we'll try for $2 trillion. I think that's the best.
Do we have the videotape?
Do you think the $2 trillion is a realistic number now that you're looking more closely at it?
Yeah, well, I think we'll try for $2 trillion. I think that's like the best case outcome. But I do think that you kind of have to have some overage. I think if we try for $2 trillion, we've got a good shot at getting one.
All right. It's not likely we're going to do $2 trillion. It'd be lucky if we had $1 trillion, $1 trillion.
Half.
Just sort of compromising and negotiating with yourself right out of the gate. But also maybe realism. I don't know. What do you make of it?
Yeah. The DOGE topic is going to be the toughest one for me over the course of the year. Like my vestigial fiscal conservatism, kind of interferes with this, where I'm like, we probably could do some cuts at commerce. All right. We probably could do create some efficiencies.
Right.
I forget who I was on with recently. Somebody was like, the last person that did that was Clinton, actually. So, that doesn't have to be a partisan thing. Democrats can do efficiencies.
Actually, that's not true. The last person who did it was Obama.
Obama failed. Obama did try.
It was sequestration. They did it.
Oh well, yeah, but it wasn't Obama that wanted sequestration. But okay, we're not going to go back and do 2010 drunk history for people. But so the objective here, I think, is fine. There's obviously some path we can cut. What I like to focus on though is the comedy of it, to the absurdity, and I have on. I think pretty good counsel that Elon, up until recently, did not realize that Congress had two different houses, the Senate and the House. He thought it was all the same. I think that's true. I'm pretty sure that's true.
No.
Even if it wasn't true, even if that's even if that was an old wives' tale, I think it speaks to a broader truth, a deeper truth.
I will say this:
that Elon doesn't know shit about shit.
No, it's obvious, and it was very obvious when the government funding fight was happening at the end of the year, because he was going nuts about why is this? If all this stuff really matters, why didn't the Senate just vote for it individually? And it's like, this is a man who's never, fair. I don't expect people to be like, on top of Senate procedure stuff. That it's boring, and you have other things to do with it. But he clearly had no idea how the Senate worked. And then, but if you're then going to say I'm empowered to cut all this money, $2 trillion worth, you probably should know how government works, and he doesn't. Maybe he does now.
Yeah, no. I mean, he's going to learn on the fly. You can learn things, but I do think that what this has revealed is there's a lot of bluster, and there's a reality that's going to strike. And there's a reality. Look, Bill Kristol wrote about this in this morning's newsletter for the Bulwark, which people should go sign up for at thebulwark.com.
Absolutely.
But just that this last period, this 2-month period between the election and when Trump is inaugurated, it kind of accentuated traits that Trump, has mastered, right? Bluster, media cycles, controlling, bullying people through the news cycle, and Elon is also good at all this, getting attention. The clock's ticking down towards having to actually do these things. And I think that this admission to Penn is already them starting to try to move the goalpost and change things around. And you saw this with Trump on deflation as well. Like Trump immediately, as soon as he won, started being like, well, prices aren't going to go down, but
it's really hard to take it down once it goes up. No, 100%. You're going to probably, I don't know if you'll see it with deportations, although they've kind of said, well, we're just going to go after the criminals. All the campaign promises get dialed back a little bit. I also think this explains a little bit why Trump loves focusing on Greenland and Panama and Gulf of America, because that's easy, spectacular shit to distract folks. And, it doesn't really you don't have to really go anywhere. It's just it's play acting. Whereas finding shit to cut in the government and then convincing the House of Representatives and the Senate to do it takes real work. The other thing that kind of confuses me is okay, let's say he actually is doing DOGE and they're, meeting in haste and coming up with plans. When? He's always online, this guy. He literally is never offline. I know he's a savant and he has all these companies he's running also simultaneously and all this stuff, but there's just
I received a text from a friend about this who's been off Twitter, and they got back on to monitor the fires, and which they realized.
Don't go to Twitter to monitor the
exactly.
Fires.
They realized quickly that was a fool's errand.
Oh my god! A bunch of lesbians and Antifa started fires in LA.
They quickly learned.
Twitter told me.
They quickly learned that was a mistake. But the instinct was on to monitor minute by minute what's happening with the fires. Hadn't been on in a while. Didn't even know about the For You page. I'm getting fed. I don't even follow Elon. I'm getting fed every post that he sends. This man is posting 24 hours a day. He has 11 children. He's running 2 companies. He's also running DOGE. What is this is not gonna eventually something's got to give.
Who's running DOGE? He cannot be. There is no DOGE. First of all, but if my boss came in, if Sarah Longo came in and she was just spitfiring tweets all day long, I'd be like, who's running this company? You need to get off Twitter. I thought we were a serious entity, but this is not. I mean, what do you think Vivek thinks? Vivek's not on Twitter like this. He's should I be 1B?
I think Vivek is loving it. I think Vivek is just I don't think he gives a rat's ass about any of this, and he just gets to hang out with Elon.
Well, he stepped in it on the H-1B visa thing, and he's kind of gone quiet since then.
It's time to get underground. Once you start going after Zach Morris, people start looking at you askance. I don't know if you're one of us, Vivek. These MAGA folks are I had concerns about you before, and then you came after Zach Morris, and I'm wondering what you know about American culture, actually, Vivek.
That's fucked. I thought it was wrong when he went after Urkel. Zach Morris. I don't really care about that. All right, so DOGE, in the end, what do you think happens? Put your flag down.
I think it's a big blue ribbon commission with some big scissors. I don't know. I think they take credit for shit that was already going to happen, in the budget process.
They only have one bill. They're putting everything in one bill.
Yeah, exactly. And so they take credit for any cuts that happen in there. And I think that hopefully the good thing that I think could happen is the one skill that Trump and Elon do have is bullying. And they usually use it for ill, but maybe they can use it to bully some of the other government contractors in a corrupt way that helps Elon, but that also like brings a little bit of efficiency to the government contracting process, which is a nightmare, particularly in the defense side of things. And I think that's something that you'd have Ro Khanna and people like that agree with. And
Right.
so I think that would be the best case scenario, that they bring some efficiencies to the government contracting on the defense side. And then besides that, I think it's mostly big scissors and
I
bullets.
think they probably end up doing something like try to move an agency outside of DC and think
Sure.
of that as sort of like clever, and people quit and they're like, oh, we cut money from the government. Yeah. But I don't think they're going to have we now know they're not going to have $2 trillion. I don't think they're going to get to $1 trillion. I think they'll get some cuts like everyone else and call it a victory and say we did our best. And that's it.
It'll be
Mark
a fun
Pence-
ride.
Wait, Mark Pence podcast. Let's talk about that for a second. Can anyone have a podcast? I guess that's anyone can have.
Yeah, I mean, our
did not
podcast
listen.
is successful. So I do sometimes like start to feel like, I'm a podcast host. Someone would be like, I'm a real podcast host, though. You know what I'm telling the parents at school? I'm saying though, Elon, you're welcome. Open invite.
I would
Come
love
on the
that.
Bulwark podcast. I'd love to interview Elon. We'd have an open conversation. We'd get fair treatment here. You
I
can
wanted
say
to do that because I
say
thought-
any of the word negative slurs that you want to say.
No,
and,
see, I liked your conversation with Jason, whatever his last name is.
Calacanis over at All
Yeah.
In.
I thought that was like, I actually am one of these people who appreciates that type of shit. And I would love it if Elon would come on and just have a genuine conversation.
Let's do it, Elon. Open invite. Definitely my ratings
He's
are better
going to
than
do Mark Penn. Yeah.
You
he
care
should
about
do that.
ratings. Elon cares about ratings. That's why he's forcing everyone to read his bleats in the For You page of his own thing. So we got ratings. Come on down. We'll see you soon.
Awesome. All right. Take care, guys. Subscribe to the feed. Later.